In 2022, the Rippaverse launched with Item Number 1. Written by company founder Eric July, illustrated by Cliff Richards, the book eventually would become a $3.7 million success. The following year, comic book veterans Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett would join the team and create a $1 million success of their own with Alpha Core Number 1. And in 2024, the highly anticipated Yaira by the Saska sisters and Deborah Carita became the third Rippaverse property to make $1 million in total sales. Isom, Alpha Core, and Yaira have cemented their place as mainstays for this fast-growing indie publisher. Now you can grab our first ever collected works, the Rippaverse Trinity Volume 1. This 300-plus page book features Isom Number 1, Alpha Core Number 1, and Yaira Number 1. And Isom has been officially remastered with updated art from Cliff and colors from the new series colorist, Sebastian Cheng. Also, all 3 books have upgraded letters, so you're getting more than just a mere reprint. Head over to Rippaverse.com and order the Rippaverse Trinity Volume 1. Available as both a trade paperback and hardcover.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm actually working right now. That video ended a lot sooner than anticipated, but how y'all doing? What's up? All right. Man, I got so much stuff I want to talk to y'all about real quick. Not gonna be streaming the longest, but we'll have some fun. Here, let me send off this little text here. All right. There we go. What's up, y'all? Lots of stuff cooking. We did announce, you probably saw in your emails, we announced the print numbers, and this is kind of going to be our this is what we're going to do going forward. Shout out Dan Vask. I see you in the chat. There's a bunch of super chats, that came in when I first got here. So we'll get to those here in a little bit. But got your emails, and it did show you that the Rippaverse Trinity Volume Number 1 for the oversized hardcover, we will only be printing 1,000 of those. I'll just go ahead and share this just real quick. That's it. Just 1,000 of those will be printed. We're also going to, which we've already announced this, but we reiterated this. We're going to sort of, the hardcovers take a little bit, right? They take longer, let's say, than what you traditionally would get with like our just regular size books. They take a little longer as far as the print, especially with when you start talking like volumes at 1,000 and above. So we're going to be ending the pre-order collection January. We'll announce that exact date soon enough. Either way, that's going to be the print there as far as this is concerned. 1,000, as you know, we'll make sure that we don't oversell. Got to account for damages, things like that. So don't worry. We'll be go under, but any event that, let's say there were no damages and we just have our little surplus there, we will put those up for sale for each and every single one of you guys. So go grab those. A lot of sales coming through, as I've seen. We're almost at like 400 some books sold. So yeah, you want to go ahead and grab those if you have not already. Like I said, next month we will sort of announce the date that it'll end, but it will be in sometime in January where we will end this collection. There's a lot of stuff that we got planned for 2025. Be on the lookout. Some more fun things I'm going to get out to you guys by the end of the year. Let you know what some of the things I guess we've been working on, cooking up, if you will. Really, really fun stuff, man. And I'm excited, really excited. So we got the Trinity Volume 1. You can get it paperback for just $45, 310. 310 plus pages you can get for just $45. Can't beat that price with a damn stick. Okay, so it's the perfect time to get in. It's also featuring a remastered version of Isom. We've talked about that updated art from our man Cliff Richards, as well as new colors from our new series colorist Sebastian Chang. Really excited for you guys to see that, so you'll get your first glimpse. I did actually post not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you can see kind of some of the colors. This is YouTube, so details not going to be there, but it does look different. If you have like maybe one of your ISOM #1 books and you can compare and contrast it to this, it does look a lot different because they're two different colors. Shout out to our man's Gabe El Taib, the first ISOM colorist, blew up with Big Man Comics. I love to see that, you know, and he needed to really tend to that. That's where most of his primary focus has been. He doesn't have time to be coloring 100-some plus pages of someone else's stuff. All things considered, there will be more collaborative efforts in the future with our man's Gabe El Taib. That said, we do have a new colorist in Sebastian Chang who will be handling the series going forward. A great colorist, does phenomenal work, and you get to see him for the first time in ISOM #1's Remastered, which is part of the Rippaverse Trinity Volume #1. So go to Rippaverse.com and go grab that. We also have some other cool things, okay? We got the soft cover, like I just mentioned. It's just $45, 310 plus pages. The difference between the soft and the hardcover are not just the soft and the hardcover. If you've seen our regular sized books, it's about the same, just bigger, okay? As far as the soft cover. The hardcover is oversized, right? You're talking more closer to a 9x12. This is a big ass book, so it's not just a regular size; it's bigger, and it also has the hardcover there. So it's different, but the interiors are the same. So go grab that. We also have some cool merchandise we wanted to add as a part of it. We also have a new Rippaverse Trinity shirt as well as Rippaverse Trinity long sleeve. So you can grab both of those. And of course, a new poster, brand new poster from our man's Caden White. Caden actually did all three of these items. So make sure you guys grab that. So a lot of stuff we got cooking, man. A lot of works that we'll be letting you guys in on. But right now, this is active. Of course, you have Bloodruth as well, which is still active. We have the ISOM statue that's active as well. Over 10,000 total books sold for Bloodruth issue #1. You can go grab that. We'll be announcing those print numbers. I don't think we have already, but I do have them. I just need to get them kind of in order. We'll make sure we get those out to you guys. For Bloodruth #1, you got obviously your 4 base versions and the one just for $15. You can get the black and white edition of this book. Can't beat that price either with a stick. So go grab those. Plenty of merch. Of course, the plushie, which I have right here, if you want to grab it. The first plushie that we've done, first official plushie, you see the jacket and everything. First official plushie. I got the prototype here, actually. So you can grab this. Remove this real quick. You can grab this over in as part of the collection. Really came out cool. I was really impressed with how this came out. I love that this came out. But you can go grab this Bloodruth plushie as part of the collection. Of course, we got posters, we got shirts, all sorts of cool things that you're going to be able to get your hands on. But go grab this right now. That, in addition to that, of course, as we've been seeing some of the pictures, I saw my man's the Ripper guy. He was covering some of this, did an unboxing. Rippaverse calendars. You can go grab those right now. They're shipping. We still have some left, but they won't be reprinted. So if you want this, go ahead and grab it. If you grab this, of course, you can add it. We'll still have it. If you want to add it like it's part of a pre-order for something else, just understand that you won't get the calendar until those pre-order items fulfill. But if you just order this outright, these start shipping out immediately. Team is already on it. So be sure to go grab the Rippaverse, our first ever calendar for 2025. Grab it. Why not? Features art from, we got Deborah Joe, Will Conrad, Cliff Richards, Kanan, Bart Sears, Wagner Rice, Ronaldson. We have Michael Montanite. He's the artist for the upcoming Bloodruth fan art contest winner as well. So all sorts of cool things you're going to be able to look at. This is all original art that's in this. This isn't like repurposed art that we just threw together a calendar for. This is all original new art. So each month is brand new. So go check this out. Really excited about that. I've been seeing some pictures and photos and stuff of you guys sharing, with you grabbing that, man. And it's awesome, 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 awesome to see. All right. So yeah, I've been cooking, been doing a lot of writing as of lately. What I've been writing, well, you'll be seeing that soon enough. I did say with ISOM, we have the ill-advised art coming to a conclusion that is, whew, I feel really good about it. Can't wait for you guys to read that in ISOM number 3. I'm working on some other stuff. As I said, I wanted to really focus first on ending this, ending the arc. And then I was going to move on to some other stuff, other characters, and before I get back on ISOM. So there's a lot of stuff that I've been cooking up, man. I think 2025 is going to be 2025 and 2026. You're going to see a lot of variation for me. You kind of saw that this year, right? You got Sersha as well as Salvage, right? Both of those books, but they were shorter stories. They were contained, obviously, because we were testing out those characters and whatnot. That's it. Got a lot of stuff coming in 2025 and 2026. It's going to be a lot more variety, not just ISOM that you're going to see coming from me. In addition to ISOM, so really excited, really stoked on some of the things that we got going, man, in the future, man. So yeah, cool things ahead for myself for sure. Obviously, the team has stayed busy. Chuck is very inspiring because he just pumps out these stories. Got a lot of stuff coming from him. Of course, the Saskas as well. Got a lot of stuff coming from them as well. So we'll be keeping you guys posted on what those projects are very soon. When I say very soon, anytime I say that, right, it's like around the corner, okay? What else we got coming out soon? Oh, yeah, up for pre-order right now. We have the Art of Joe Bennett. I don't know if you can even get that anymore, but we do have the Art of Will Conrad, which is up for pre-order right now. So go grab those. It's in the stores, not part of a collection, much like the first one. This is going to be kind of our release format. I want to talk about that here in a bit. If you go in the store right now, you'll see it as a featured item, and that is someone's at my doorbell or at my door, but you'll see it as a featured item. I'll pull it up right now. Why not? As you see right here, we got the calendar, Bloodruth, we got 2 statues, and of course the Art of Will Conrad. It features some narration from Will himself, as well as some of his favorite pages that are handpicked by Will Conrad himself. Cool things, little nuggets that you're going to see, but straight line art. I know you guys are going to love that, much like you love the Art of Joe Bennett. And just like the Art of Joe Bennett, it features a special like treatment cover, because we do treat these almost like a not almost, they're collectible because we don't reprint them. So go grab those. We already announced those print numbers. Once those are gone, you can get that pre-order right now. We'll let you know soon enough once those start going. It's going to be a very active January and February of next year. We talked about it, I think, last stream. Like, guys, people probably will never get used to the productivity that we're going to have, because we're going to have so many different things going. And I get it. You know, this sector has kind of got people accustomed to just projects that come out every now and then. But that's not how we operate. We are a full-fledged publisher. We've started to really show you what that looks like. Next year is going to be that times 50 because we're going to be putting stuff for pre-order like it's going out of style. But it's also going to be shortening some windows, right? This includes even maybe for some of our bigger characters, probably not going to have a lot of the, let's say, 75-day long collection windows or campaigns. We're going to shorten those, which means you're going to have to get your items when you get your items. Okay. So some of those sell out, but we got to move on to the next thing as well. There will be some instances where, like a statue or something, it's going to be for a longer period of time. But for like our general books, those things are going to be going up for pre-order, getting those printed. If we have some CGC copies, we'll account for that. That's usually really what extends a lot of our projects. Even now, because we got to get the books, and then we got to get them signed, got to get the talent in, got to get them signed, we got to send them to CGC has to grade them, then they got to send them back. That all takes some time. So some projects won't have CGC copies for that reason, but others will, because we do know that there's people building a big collection of those. So make sure you go grab those when you can, because they're not going to be part of every single collection. That's it. We will do them when it makes sense for us. So next year, man, is going to be a massive year. We got a lot of stuff planned for you guys. I'm really excited, and I can't say that enough. And yeah, man, it's going to be a massive massive year. And I want to give a big shout out to our good friends over at Iconic, because I know that some people have got some of their items. They've also got some of our items, and they see that it comes with this cool little postcards that's in there, and you may see some cool art. I'll go ahead and I was gonna wait. I wanted them to be the ones to be talking about it first. Let me show you guys some of what you can get if you order something right now and it gets shipped during the holidays from the Rippaverse. I'll show you guys right now. It's something really, really cool, because we didn't say anything about this, right? At all. It's just something that kind of appeared. Mark talked about it. The guys over at Iconic talked about it as well, because again, Ripper Guy ended up doing a. Let me pull this up real quick. Where am I at? There it is. He ended up doing a unboxing. So I'll go ahead and show you guys right here, as you guys can see. Of course, Eric, what art he did there, as you saw the unboxing, and you might be seeing a little something special there. With a little team, not necessarily a team, but we're exchanging gifts, if you will. We want to give a big shout out to our bros at Iconic Comics celebrating the holidays with us. It was something that was really cool to do. It was a little collaborative effort. And look, I get it, man. And it shouldn't be like that, and it isn't really. It's not. It's just I know there's a lot of noise that happens on the interwebs. Okay, tricks people, into thinking that, especially with independent comics, it's this like crabs sort of in a bucket mentality. It's having a drum up nonsense, thinking that views matter more than readership, stuff like that. And there's always this constant like controversy that, trying to drum up, and the easiest way to do that is try to have like pretend like there's some sort of issues between creators. And I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that at all, because I think it's so unnecessary, especially understanding that, comics is changing. The independents having this opportunity to really go their own route and find what works for them and see a lot of success. And the pie isn't fixed at all. Okay. And this was cool, like little collaborative effort that we did. Two very successful independent comics based out of Texas, might I add. A little bias there. But yeah, man, we got nothing but love for each other. And yeah, we do things differently for sure, but that doesn't mean that we have to be like at each other's throats. We don't need to be at each other's necks. And it was a genuine kind of collaboration here, right? Because again, we got our own things going. If one goes away, one would have no problem existing. And but it does look great, I think, for you guys, especially seeing this play out, because I don't want these young aspiring creators to think like, is this what's ahead of you? Just a bunch of stupid little petty beefs or fake drummed up beefs in order to try to get people to talk, and then thinking that that's going to sell books or get readership. Is this what you're in for? And yeah, there will be folks that you can't even ignore it out of the way. There's a lot of folks that spend a lot of time talking about myself, as well as even Iconic Comics, that masquerade as professionals. And there's nothing you can do about that. So yeah, you need to be prepared at least to deal with folks knocking you, because that comes with the territory, especially when you're productive. You got to put stuff out to get criticized. And the more stuff that you put out, the more critical people are going to be of you. And once you especially see some success that people think that they're more deserving of, they're going to ramp up their attacks, right? I've dealt with that. The Iconic Comics guys have dealt with it as well. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's not a standard per se. At all, right? You can exist, you can be completely different entities, not having any sort of financial or ties in any way, while still being cordial, respectful, especially when there's so much crossover readership these days, like with us and Iconic. So it was a cool little thing to do. So if you order something either at in our store as well as theirs, you get this cool little holidays postcard. So go ahead and grab that. Whatsoever is really cool. I want to give a big shout out to Eric, one of the top artists I think in the world right now, really doing his work, man. And he has the same name that I do. So another little bias there. But big shout out to him for that artwork, man. As well as again, all of the iconic comics guys from Doug to Mark to Tim. It was awesome to really collaborate with you guys on that. So go grab that if you have not already. And big shout out to you guys, to those guys, just to put some eyes on this. If you don't know already, they have a major presence right now in retailers out there in Japan. And that's what I don't think people understand, how difficult it is to tap into a non-primarily English speaking audience. What Iconic has done in that regards, to me, should put them at the top. If you're like aspiring to be a professional, be it publisher, self-publisher, or whatever, I think it's worth looking into. You can't replicate exactly how they did it, of course, but I think it's worth looking into and getting inspired by what they did, because that's a very difficult thing. And they were able to do it. And it was against all odds, too, because they didn't do it through the traditional means, right? I know Tim is pretty open about this. He speaks about how, look, there's a lot of pros that gave him false advice. Or rather, if he took the advice, they wouldn't have been able to accomplish what they've accomplished, because the reality is a lot of those guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. This isn't anything that I've shied away from mentioning as well. It's like, just because a person can draw really well or write really well or has been in the industry does not mean that they know every. Doug did a wonderful post. I did a video on it. I think it's over on the Creative Bidness channel. Did a wonderful, just a great post talking about this. Like, just because you are a professional in one aspect or you're knowledgeable on one aspect doesn't mean you know everything, right? And I think part of being a successful business owner is understanding where you lack and your shortcomings there and putting people in those positions to succeed, right? But yeah, guys that think, oh, just because they've been around the industry for a while that they understand everything. And it's like, no, you may have been one hell of a writer, but that doesn't mean you understand the business level of it. And there's a lot of advice that I'm sure that was slung at them by these supposed pros, who then turned around, much like us, told them that what they were doing was not the way to go. And they went and did their own thing. And now they're to the point to where, again, they have a major presence in another a country like a Japan, which, I mean, what's coming out of there. It's a very competitive market out there, and they're out there, with an insane presence. And that's something to marvel at. That's something to be inspired by. It inspires us as well. I'm sure we have our international presence, but most of our international presence, as you guys know, we've expanded in the UK and all. There's English speakers speaking spots. And that's not to say it's easy to have a presence there. To have a major presence in another country at all that's a feat, right? For sure. But to especially do it in a their primary language is not English. Shit. That ain't easy. And they did it. So big shout out to those bros out there. Love to see that. And I learned from it as well. I pick up on what other guys are doing in the industry, and I'm like, I don't look at it like, oh, well, Rippaverse needs to be the only successful people. Unfortunately, that is an attitude that I think a lot of folks share. They want to be the king of king or queen of, I don't know, independent comics. And I don't care about that. I'm not attracted at all at that or by that. Like, I don't find that attractive. I would much rather, I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. So I like the markets and I want them to work. And I understand that there's no fixed pie. Just because someone is, especially in a thriving industry, is going to add anyway. It's going to add new viewership and readership. And that's what I think should be the focus more than anything. Instead of just staying stagnant. If let's say this has happened, right? We've got first time ever readers, right? So that what I mean by that is these are people that were not part of the comic book market, yet they became part of the comic book market as readers, and now they're intrigued by the actual medium, and so they're looking at more creators, they're looking at other companies, they're looking at other publishers, and they weren't part of that market before. I know Iconicus has that as well, where you have people that are, oh, well, I wasn't previously interested in this, or this wasn't my primary like go-to form of entertainment. Now it is. And therefore, I may be looking at other things to buy into as well to continue on in my journey. Right. So considering that, you're always adding to the pie, right? It's not fixed. There's more people that are going to be added to it. And I don't look at like people being successful as an attack on me. I don't care for that. I look at other people being successful, and I get inspired by it. And if they're doing something that I haven't done, or I think there's something that a version of that I can implement in my own company that I think will help me, then that's the way that I approach it. Others don't, unfortunately. Others look at it like, well, that person is a threat to me, therefore it's going to be public enemy number one, and therefore I got to spend time to attack them, and more time attacking them than they do creating their own material. And I did a post today. You guys can go. I shared it around on X. Really echoing the sentiment that some of that what Doug's been speaking about over the last week, and just really talking about like time. Okay. Time is a precious thing. I kind of wrote that right into that trailer, right? That I did for ISOM number 2, the animation. And I think that's a universal truth. Um, time is of it's like it's not renewable, right? You don't get that back. Okay. It is of all scarce resources, which all resources are scarce, right? Anyway, so I guess kind of redundant, but it is of the most scarce. Okay. So spending your time wisely is going to be obviously conducive to you making it as a professional in anything that you do. You know, so the key is picking your spots. I don't expect everybody to be like me, where like you live and breathe your company and your work. I love it. I mean, I work 7 days a week and I have no problem with that, holidays included. There's no day that I don't work. Okay. But if that's not you, you got to pick your spots. And it's just like, it's if you want to be a professional. Now, if you want to be a commentator, like I've been there, it was time between albums where I was commentating on everybody else's stuff, doing reviews and long form videos and the history of this, Thanos, all this stuff, editing, spent all that time. And yeah, that was great for a while it lasted, but I wasn't like an original creator during that window. I cannot call myself a professional I could call myself maybe a professional YouTuber if you think that's the thing in the first place. Commentator, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, when you do your own thing, original content, obviously, I think it's kind of expected, especially if you have a company with employees and a regular release schedule. That most of your time is going to be going to that, right? And then the time you're not spending is, I don't know, maybe with your family and doing whatever. Pick your spots. Doesn't mean that you can't hang out and do some other stuff. I do it every now and then. I'll pop in Tuesday night's main event. I'll do that stuff like that. But most of my time is spent creating. Okay, and that's what professionals do. So if you find yourself falling in that trap, as Doug talked about with social media, and I just did a video, creator business video talking about this as well, right? It very much is a trap. Let me see, how long is that video? I might be able to no, that video is gonna be massive. I would show it. Let me see something real quick. Hold on. Yeah, no way. But yeah, on the creator business video, I talked about this, and like you got to get the work done at the end of the day. And that's what professionals do. Professionals get the work done. It's a fork in the road. I think anybody that starts to see any kind of success is going to have to deal with. Definitely, if you go from like I did, where you're doing a lot of just social media stuff, conversing and commentating, and then you cross over to doing your original stuff. That fork in the road is going to be okay. Do you scale back on all of that, or do you and become a professional, or are you just gonna keep being a critic or a professional YouTuber? And that's not to say that there's something inherently wrong. It's just that you really can't do both. There's no room for both. You're not gonna. There's not enough time in a day. Got to get to work. Work got to get done. You know what I'm saying? All right, there's a bunch of super chats, man. Like a bunch that I missed because Bennett came through and dropped 60, 3 back to back. For any artist that race swaps, establish characters and say it's fictional, it's not a big deal. Try doing that with the Austrian painter. They're so willing to do it to fictional characters. So do Trump argument. Poof. Says they do it to the painter when the argument system or systemic oppression or minorities can be racist is destroyed. With Trump, they acknowledge black stereotypes because Trump X is being arrested, blah, blah, blah. Or is it only non-villain evil criminal characters they like to do? All right, make Billy Kincaid ice cream killer black or mixed. See how fast they will claim him then, or how fast they cry racism. The irony is not lost on me. Well, yeah. Look, back when I used to do the videos talking about this, like extensively, there's no consistency on it, and I don't think it's even worth getting tripped out about it. Because of that, like at least about that aspect of it. They're not people that value being consistent on any issue. So whatever the argument needs to be at the time is going to be the argument. And this is why they always try to add these qualifiers when you would talk about like race swapping, let's say something that existed. So you can race swap pretty much any white character, but if you race swap a black character, all of a sudden it's now the qualifier is, well, race was integral to that character. And what black characters do they mean race is integral to? Every single one of them. So that's why it's appropriate to do it the opposite way. I just think it's corny all around. I think there are people that are, and I have it's funny. You would think that definitely because I don't talk about it as much, that I somehow have less of a problem with it. And I think it's even more corny than I was when I was doing all the videos about it, because now I've created characters of various different races and, male characters, female characters, and saw a lot of success. I'm not trying to hear anybody's excuse, especially those that got more or access to more resources than I have and properties that are far more popular. I did it with characters that were completely original. Nobody had heard of them prior to June and July of 2022. And yet they stuck with an audience. Okay. So I'm not trying to hear anybody's excuses for why it must happen. I'm not trying to hear anything about it must happen because of, well, people don't care about original characters. They that's why they got a race swap, because nobody goes to support the dog shit character that they create that happens to be a woman or happens to be black. I'm not trying to hear any of that. I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. So, people that they pick and choose what is why they can justify a race swap or why they won't, or it should be disallowed, I guess. So expecting consistency from those people is just not about it. But yeah, I'm not. I just don't even care for it, especially now. Like, I mean, I will talk about like, yeah, race swap, haha. I'd rather just go create another character. So there's that. All right, continuing on. Mark with a 5 says, you know what shares the acronym DEI? Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Isom Horseman is coming from Creative, says with 29 months. Isom Horseman crossover win. They can fight human traffickers in Shadow Valley and be best buds afterwards. Maybe Avery will get involved with Patty and start his own family. Got some other plans for Horseman. Well, Chuck does. Six months from Transformers fan says excited for Bloodruth. Hell, the Rippaverse fan base. Shout out. Prime Animations with a 10. Hi there, Eric Carlos from Prime Animations here. I'm loving the Trinity combo. Hoping we can connect again like we did back in April. Yeah, I remember chatting with you. It was cool as shit. Hope all is going good with you too, homie. 32 months. 32 months. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser with a 5. What's the goal of new comics to release in 2025? I guess it depends on what you're asking, right? Because obviously we have some general goals pertaining to the release schedule, but there's going to be a lot of books coming out. I just don't want to look. There's going to be a way that we package letting you guys in on what's coming to the future that I'm trying to not NDA myself on. So just hold tight. We will make it very, very known what our plans are going into the future. But we have plans. Yes, that spells bad news for whatever reason. People that just insisted that, I mean, hell, they said we were supposed to go bankrupt last year, maybe the end of 2022. Not happening. And we're going to do some there's a lot of stuff happening next year, man. That's the wheels are already in motion for. And I'm not just talking about like new material. There's plenty of new comic books coming out, but we got some other stuff cooking for you too, bro. We got some stuff cooking, bro. Peter B with 11 months says, why was Mick Davies black and Horseman? He wasn't. Thundarius with a 35 months says, Ripper, I need that yellow trim Rippaverse hat. You talking about this hat right here? Talking about that? And a backwards hat that I can wear on my channel to review music. Flat bills for the win. By the way, keep bringing heat. You got it. You got it. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that hat. I don't know. Bruce with a 5 months, or not 5 months, gifting 5 subs. Appreciate that. Reverse Lee with a 2 says, yo, Eric, how is the hip doing? Merry Christmas. Doing great. Been doing my physical therapy, but I'm not obviously where I was at, but like there's nothing that I am being hindered from doing, especially with day-to-day stuff. I'm just not back into doing like some of the combat stuff, like kickboxing and shit like that. That's got a while. Short box saved me from busting my ass last night. Oh shit. Larry Parker with a 5 says, good looking out. You can go grab those short boxes, by the way. We have another short box you can go grab. Good looking out, he says. I'm glad that that the short boxes are saving lives out there. Shout out. What's up, Larry, man? I hope you're doing well, homie. Avery Park with 15 months, head into 2025 with laser focused Rippaverse family. Make use of all opportunities presented to you. Winners, new year starts now. Go be great. You got it. You got it. Yeah, man. I think, you go into the next year being as productive as you possibly can, no matter where you're at. And not for everybody, that doesn't mean creating a thing, right? That doesn't mean that at all. you know? So yeah, it's just go be productive, man. Like I said earlier, time is money and can't get that back. You can get money back, I guess, but you can't really get your time back. It's not a resource that operates like that, homie. Not at all. Jazz with a two says, finish reading The Horseman. It was really good. Appreciate that. Some people are saying, a lot of people have said it's their favorite book so far. So, hey, like I told you, we'll get around to you. If you are looking for something that is more your style, it'll happen if it hasn't happened already. Really expanding the variety and the type of characters and stuff. Definitely next year too. But you know, the fact that the latest book that we released for some people is their favorite, I'm game with that. I'm game. Mugen Lord with a 10, appreciate that, says, would be cool to see you do your own version of X-Men type team in your universe, excuse me. I mean, let me say this. This is what I want to do with Rippaverse first, like definitely going into next year. I want to get people really familiar with some of these individual characters. And some haven't been introduced, many have. Because what happens then, if there is a team up, or if there is, and I'm talking about like a legitimate one, not like simply, hey, Ice and Bloodruth go retrieve like I think that's the level of which we'll do cool things every now and then before we do some like massive crossover or massive team up, or just a general individual team. Like we have Alpha Core, for example. Like, so the team dynamic is obviously something that we love to explore. But when you're talking about several members and stuff, if we can get people used to like characters that are existing kind of on their own and doing their thing, I believe that it'll make those collaborative, like more team up based stuff special, really special. So we're working on that, and that's one of the things that we're going to be really, really focusing on going into the future. And like I said, what I'm saying will make a lot of sense. I know I'm kind of talking around some things, but again, we're sitting on some special. Okay, but once that is out, I think it'll make a lot more sense that we got plans, and we do have a theme for 2025, like a legit theme. Not an event, like a theme that just like a company wide kind of standpoint for next year. And like I said, we'll have some announcements that I think is going to make a lot more sense. Appreciate that. We got Prime Animations with a 10, says, how can we touch base again? My friend would love a follow-up. Man, it'll have to be sometime next year, that's for sure. I'm not sure. Carol makes my schedule. Bonnet with a 10 said, I really like how you made liars out of all of your haters who said that you fell off. They should just let you make money and mind their business, so maybe their comics won't be so late. Well, a lot of that has to do with it's a narrative thing, man. You, I guess let me try to make sense of that. So, and it's not my dog; it's my mom's dog screaming. Shiloh, please. I'm streaming, and she's probably like barking at her own reflection. She's been doing that as of late. All right, so like I was saying, Shiloh, please. I'm streaming. But So with some people, she's not gonna stop. So with some people, like, all right. Anyway. Are we done, Shallow? I hear her. Shallow. We want to say hello to the people. I don't know if I can pick your big butt up. You chunky. You gonna let me do it? Oh. Oh. Y'all remember I showed her off. She don't like being picked up a lot, but it's my mom's dog. Shiloh. She's got a lot to say all the time. Are you ready to go? Okay. Can you like not yell as much? Please? That'd be great. All right. I don't even know where I was going because dog. Okay, so this is what happens with that. So if you are perpetually online, I know that term gets used far too much, but you know, one of the things that I think is very difficult, definitely if you have an active presence on social media, for some people is differentiating between what's real and what's not. Because if you spend most of your time online, and that's not to say like, and when I say online, I'm specifically speaking like in certain corners of that, of like the internet, okay, or social media, not the internet, social media, right? Because pretty much everybody's on the internet. They got little computers basically that they're walking around with, okay? So you spend all your time in this like pocket, right? And it can trick you. We see this happen with the mainstream, for example, and their marketing teams. Well, it tricks them into believing that that is the world, right? And that's all that exists. Okay. There's nothing really that exists outside of it for the most part, you know, and you got to be able to, especially if you're going to be operating as a business owner, you got to be able to understand what's noise and what's not. Okay. So to your point here, it's when you are perpetually online and like your presence is that's where all that it's contained to, and like even when there's like a financial aspect to it, I think some people get in the habit of feeling like they absolutely need, because again, I guess they're perpetually online, so like their entire livelihood almost depends on narrative control, right? Because it doesn't, they can't really exist outside of that bubble, right? So what's happened is, as you're speaking to making liars out of people, right? What happened is it wasn't anything that I did that was special. It was just I just kept grinding, and it kind of, you find out that, oh, him going bankrupt is going to happen. Oh, he can't do this. Like even when, you know, people had all that commentary just being absolutely wrong about what was going to be the outcome of, for example, the with myself and or with our company and the ministry, right? And that ended in this boring way where basically both parties said, okay, we won't get in your way. You get to do your thing in your lane. We get to do our thing in our lane. ISOM still continues to be the thing. And, you know, we're the owner of said that, and nobody is violating anybody's rights. You had people that was clinging to, oh, he's gonna get fucking nailed. He can't come out with an ISOM anymore. He's got to rename his all these sorts of things that obviously once it came out of that, and there's people still clinging to it. Like there's weirdos who think that ISOM 3 isn't gonna happen because of that. And it's like, it's narrative control. It's like their entire existence depends on how some people in their little pocket of the internet view them. And so they have to continue to lie. Even if the lie has already been exposed for one, they have to continue to lie. because they need people to believe it, because they don't want anybody, or not anybody, it's more specifically their little bubble, to find them out to be hacks and frauds. So this is why they work so damn hard to control the narrative. I don't even care for it anymore. And I do appreciate, granted, there are people out there that are more in the commentary space. And obviously, we're fans of the Rippaverse, always defending the Rippaverse. And I appreciate that nonetheless. It's just not the best use of my time to be getting in the trenches trying to fight off these fake ass narratives, because at the end of the day, time is going to tell all. It's going to tell that all that was nonsense. No, Rippaverse was not going to go be bankrupt by 2023 or 2020. That was never going to happen. It was never on the table. Right? That was never an option. So it has a way of making liars out of people. The truth does. And for some, it takes it'll take some time to get there, right? But yeah, it would make a lot more sense, definitely, if those people are, and they're not professionals, to be honest. Like, nobody that, I don't care how accomplished someone is. If someone, I mentioned this morning, if you're spending more time, you can't really call yourself a professional in said industry when you're spending more time on everybody else's work other than your own. You can't call, your accomplishments, all that's great. That means something. You can be around. You can be a writer that people know that you may have done something for a major company back in the gap, but that doesn't change anything. You can be an editor. You can be someone that worked in the corporate office for fucking some mega corporation. It doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters. That doesn't mean anything. What you did in the past doesn't mean anything, because back then you probably were contracted to do work and you were always producing. When you've crossed into that commentary, YouTuber, social media critic, that realm, that's what you're a professional. Like, you're a professional YouTuber. You're a professional criticizer. You're a professional critic. You're a professional commentator. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of my buddies that obviously you guys know as my colleagues are like, basically what they do as a profession is commentate. That's cool. But they don't also go around pretending as if they are these professionals in other industries, because they're not. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, time has a way of making liars out of people. And I would prefer, I think it'd do everybody a bit of good. I don't care who you are, whether you love me, hate me, doesn't matter. Getting out there and creating is going to be a far better use of your time if that's what your aspirations are. If your aspirations are to like be a professional in the comic book industry, for example, go make comics. You have your opinions. That doesn't mean you need to like everybody. I'm not saying that. You can have your opinions. You can fire off your opinions, but most of your time should be utilized on your work, working on that, if you are to be a professional in the industry. Otherwise, you're a hobbyist, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be very clear. There's plenty of hobbyists out there that may do decent work for sure, but it's not. They have other things. They have real, like, IRL jobs, day-to-day jobs and stuff like that. Like, that's not their main gig, and there's nothing wrong with that being your main. But you can't be a full-time commentator, right, while also trying to be a professional in something completely different. It just doesn't work that way, and the output will show. In other words, you got to get to work. Would I be copyright claimed if I played backwards during my PC building stream? I'm planning that next week. It just depends on which songs you use. Because, and it's not anything that we would do. You just got to understand the like digital distributor, they have these audio watermarks, right? So depending on what song it is, like all of Veracity, for example, those have already been marked with exactly that. I would have to basically effectively republish it in order to take that off, or YouTube would pick it up or something like that. And it wouldn't be a claim, but they would like make your video null and void, because basically all the money made from the ad revenue made from the video will go to us. So there are songs, however, that you don't have to worry about that with. You have White Pilled, you have The Great Equalizer, our latest track, and there's some other ones in there as well. I'd have to look at the master list, but there are plenty of songs that we have created that are not that like YouTube won't pick it up or anything like that. Selection, yeah, that obviously is one of them as well, where you can do whatever you want with those. And we announced it. Like we said, hey, you want to use them for your intros, you want to listen to them on stream, we don't give a shit. We don't care. So do your thing. Do your thing. My man, I see Edwin's in the chat. He says, young men in particular should choose their primary focus, create a plan, and execute it with diligence. I agree. And like, I think a lot of folks, and this isn't a comic thing. This is like a human thing, especially in this day and age where everybody's looking at for shortcuts. They see where like definitely very successful people and where they're at, and they often want to be there without having to do what often that person did to get to that spot. And this is why you always hear me say there is zero substitute for work. What if you play sports, right? What is the old saying? Was hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that rings very true in other avenues as well, right? There's no real substitute for work. Like you can be the most talented individual in the world, but you have to have drive, you have to have ethic, you have to have focus in order for that to manifest itself to something that is tangible, right? And that you can really benefit from and be blessed from. It just takes work. There's no shortcut. No shortcut for work. You got to do it. Some people don't want to do it, but you got to do it. Renowned Zero, yeah, the mixtape, yeah. You're talking about the free mixtape that I dropped as a thank you for the successful Veracity. Yes, everything on that tape, which you can get for free, is you can listen to that royalty free, copyright free, or whatever. You play it for your intros, do it all that stuff. Want to listen to it on stream, you will not get claimed. So there's what a file. My channel went from 300 subs to over 4,200 this year. Wow. Put out over 100 videos in a new series in 6 months. Networked with bands. Keep moving forward. Yeah, man. It's work. I love to see that, man. I love to see people doing it the right way, man, and grinding. Shout out to you, Thundarius, man. I know you're a big supporter of what we do, man, especially with Backwards, man. I appreciate you so much, man. Shout out. Shout out. Guy with 26 months, just wishing you a great new year, and you as well, man. Appreciate you being you're such a great ambassador for everything, man, that's happening with the Rippaverse, man. Thank you so much, homie. Should follow him on X if you don't already. He's done some reviews. He's recently got some iconic stuff that he unboxed as well. Make everyone LG yada yada for 2025, says no offense with a 2. Yeah, if I wanted to completely run the business into the ground, that's exactly what I would do. J Mag to the 10 says, Hell Ripper says, because of you, I am now starting my physical media collection of comics and manga, mostly complete collection and impossible hardcovers. One certain collection from Iconic is on the way. I love to hear that. Absolutely. Yeah. That's why we did it. I mean, we know that that's a big thing. I know there's a kind of dispute happening right now, which is very interesting. I've already chimed in on this whole like collected versions versus floppies thing. And I've already given my opinion on that. I think that financially, like floppies and trying to rely on that if you are a completely independent publisher is a very difficult thing to do because of it's trying to. It's just a different era. How people consume media has changed fundamentally, bro. And I think bigger books make more sense. You can get a better return off of it than, I mean, the day of people just looking for some newspaper newsstand, cheap thing. It's just not, there's no demand for that anymore. Or not, I won't say there's no demand. It's just not as big of a demand as it was. In order to get a return, sure, if you're mainstream, you can do that. But let's be honest. they're not. There's a lot of stuff that the mainstream is putting out that they're not getting a return on because they financially can't on it. It just doesn't sell well enough. There's a lot that has to go right for that to happen. And there's all these middlemen. You got the distributor, you got the retailer that are getting that got to get their cut off of it as well. So from the publishers, like them getting an individual return on that is very, very difficult. Depending on if it's Batman or Superman, and yeah, you ain't got no problem Spider-Man, but not every character is that. So independent people, they can't afford that, right? Like you're putting something out, you pay all this money, and it's not like the rate changes, right? If so and so is a good artist and he charges X amount of dollars per page, they don't charge you less because you're independent. You know what I'm saying? That's the going rate. The price is the price, as you guys hear me say all the time. The price is the price. Ain't that right, Shiloh? The price. It is. So you can't really afford to operate like that. So yeah, I think that's why you're seeing people trend toward not necessarily trades per se and collected editions, but bigger works for sure. But yeah, obviously we have our first collected works, Rippaverse Trinity. You should get that hardcover right now, oversized. We're only selling 1,000 of those, or there will only be 1,000 printed. We'll sell a little less to account for damages, but that's all that's getting printed. So go grab those if you want to grab them. Otherwise, once they sell out, they're gone. Okay. There we go. All right, what we got next? Was I some art supervised by Kanan? Yes, that's partially why we did it, because when we first made ISOM, right, it was not. I know I get it just because of the look and the feel and the fact that we had the number of total purchasers and the public data. You get lumped into this crowdfunding thing, right? And we, as I've said a million times, we wanted to do pre-orders but take the transparency element that crowdfunding implemented. We didn't want to crowdfund. And by crowdfund, I mean you're taking people's money that they give you to then fund the project that you're working on. That didn't happen with us. It's never happened. What we've done is we finished the work and we put it up for sale. And so that's what happened with ISOM. So before you guys ever knew what ISOM was finished. Cliff did his art. Cliff did his or the colors were done by Gabe. It was done. We obviously, a lot has changed since that happened, right? When we went to the small team of guys putting out a book to, holy shit, you're a multi-million-dollar company now. We added new people, and that's part of the editorial process and all that. And ISOM finally gets the treatment that, I mean, it's not a complete redraw, right? Obviously, there was no feasible way to do that. We weren't going to do that, but it was some touch-ups. There were some touch-ups on it by Cliff himself, with, of course, Kanan's leadership and his eye, and others as well. So that was a big reason why we did it. And obviously we had an opportunity considering that new colors as well. So you get basically a remaster, you get updated art while also getting some new colors on it as well. So from the new series colors. Shout out. Oh, Hypnotics. I saw a bunch. I know I've been missing some names. Renown Zero. I see Hypnotics in the chat now. Shout out. We saw Dan was in here earlier. Lots of y'all. Lots of folks that are here showing some love, man. Much love to all y'all. Appreciate y'all. Big shout out. Y'all follow those brothers. All right. Noah Face, this week leftist memo CEOs don't do anything. Ripper, do you know all of the Rippaverse would have just spontaneously happened without you? Look, it's dangerous. I've talked about that before. Leftist understanding of economics is perhaps their most dangerous. Because from that stems all of the things that they believe that they're justified in doing, which also includes fucking offing you. Okay, it's dangerous what their lack of economic understanding. Okay, I don't know where this narrative comes from. Right, there's two narratives that come from the CEO thing. One, they look at CEOs like they're hoarding all the money, and it's objectively retarded and wrong. You can go to any even big, massive mega corporation. You can completely eliminate the CEO's like salary for the year and give it equally to everybody in the company, right? And they wouldn't get maybe a couple of cent raise, right? And that's can basically go for almost every big major company, right? Every single one of them. On the other hand, you have this idea that, well, they don't do shit. Could there possibly be a place where, let's say, the head honchos for these jobs, definitely these actual like in a because you got CEOs, but you got CEOs, right? And that's when we're talking like boards and shit. That they may not do stuff, right? Kind of coasting for various yeah, sure. Perhaps that there's some people out there like that. I can say in my experience, even working in corporate America, which I worked in. So I've told the story before. I worked in IT. Obviously, that was my major gig before all the entertainment stuff took off, right? And I worked out of the same office as both my like the CIO, the CTO of the company as well. Those guys were fucking workhorses. And though it wasn't out of the same headquarters, right? The headquarters of the CEO for the company I worked at was in Georgia. But again, I'd been there so many different times, and the guy was always fucking working. So, in my experience, and this also includes when I was in the gym industry, my franchise owners were fucking workhorses. So, maybe they get their idea of this shit from television, but also it's important to understand that most the whatever salary you think the average CEO in America is a multimillionaire salaried worker, that is objectively wrong. Most CEOs don't make that. The average CEO salary is nothing near what you might think that it is. Or the leftists do. Let's say maybe most of the people who watch me maybe understand, but yeah, it's I've always tripped out that narrative. If they think they're just sitting there, CEOs twiddling their thumbs, and that's just maybe that's the case for a company or two, but for most it isn't. It doesn't work like that. What's the next one? I want all Rippaverse books adapted into animated movies I can buy on Blu-ray. One of your ways to do that is going to be becoming a member over at Rippaverse.com. We are working on our new membership overhaul. It's taking a little longer than we anticipated. Okay. But we are working on it, and it's going to have a lot of cool interactive things for you guys to really incentivize people to take advantage of the memberships. That's going to be your way. We're trying to use that as our baseline for supporting like non-comic book related ventures, right? Let the comic books be subsidized by the purchases of previous books. Okay. So, but we're trying to dedicate resources towards animation, especially since we have the team, but we got to justify that. So your best way to do that is going to become a member over at Rippaverse.com at any tier, even at $5. Mr. Reese with a 2 says, got my calendar. January is the best month. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Shout out. Glad you enjoyed it. In January, yeah, it was Deborah's art. It's fucking killer on that, man. Kentucky Objectivist with a 46 months. Will we see more horror characters like Bloodruth? With the Saskas here, I'm sure you will. And Jordan brings up a great point. Shout out Jordan. She says most business owners don't even get paid or make money the first few years of starting. That is a fact. You are often the last one to get paid as a business owner because you write the checks. Congrats on 13 books launched in 36 months, says jokingly with a 24-month, and we're looking to make it many, many more going into 2025. First he fails, then bankruptcy. What's next? Rippaverse Tower. Yeah, apparently. Will it be signed? Trinity's not necessarily. I mean, technically I could sign them, but there's obviously we couldn't get them CGC'd because, well, they're pretty big. And slabs, I don't think they make slabs that big. So, because our big books were pushing it. So, we'll see. Perhaps there will be some opportunities there, but the ones that we are releasing right now are not signed. Okay. Appreciate that, by the way. All right. What else? In case you don't know what the Rippaverse Trinity is, I'm going to play this real quick because, yeah, you should know what it is.
In 2022, the Rippaverse launched with Item Number 1. Written by company founder Eric July. Illustrated by Cliff Richards. The book eventually would become a $3.7 million success. The following year, comic book veterans Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett would join the team and create a $1 million success of their own with Alpha Core Number 1. And in 2024, the highly anticipated Yaira by the Saska sisters and Deborah Carita became the third Rippaverse property to make $1 million in total sales. Isom, Alpha Core, and Yaira have cemented their place as mainstays for this fast-growing indie publisher. Now you can grab our first ever collected works, the Rippaverse Trinity Volume 1. This 300-plus page book features Isom Number 1, Alpha Core Number 1, and Yaira Number 1. And Isom has been officially remastered with updated art from Cliff and colors from the new series colorist, Sebastian Chang. Also, all 3 books have upgraded letters, so you're getting more than just a mere reprint. Head over to Rippaverse.com and order the Rippaverse Trinity Volume 1. Available as both a trade paperback and hardcover.
So yeah, oversized hardcover. We're only printing 1,000 of those, so be sure to grab those at Rippaverse.com. Having a lot of fun seeing people say that this is going to be the jumping on point because you can get the soft cover for just $45. That's 310 plus pages. And of course, it has, in addition to it, it has, hold on, pull that up, the remastered art of Isom, which I'll pull it up later. Or I already pulled it up actually before. You can kind of get a glimpse of that over on my YouTube, as well as oh, it's right here. Get a glimpse of that there. So go check it out. That will be part of the Rippaverse Trinity Volume Number 1. So go grab those. We of course have the Isom statue as well as Bloodruth Number 1 that's also active, which you can go grab. We have Achromatic Chronicles Green over at Ripperson.com, which you can go grab. Over 2,100 books sold over there. All ages book. Make sure you go grab that for your younger ones. And yeah, we're gonna continue to make this a productive end of the year. And I'm really, really excited. Really, really excited. All right, guys, I gotta bounce. Got a lot of stuff to do, like a lot. Holy shiz. Got a lot of stuff to do. Gotta go. You guys have been incredible. We appreciate you. I did my Monday stream. We'll see you on Ribbon of Silverback on Wednesday as well. And those are my 2 streams for the week. But I got a lot of stuff to do. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make this week a productive one. That's been kind of the theme here. Productivity. Okay. So go be productive. Okay. I got to bounce until next time. Y'all be easy. Again, enjoy the rest of your day and week. Peace out.